Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're entering the land of creativity, and we're going to be breaking down a section from my book, Clarity, 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to Improve Your Communication Skills. The book is currently available on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing it. And the section that we're going to be breaking down is what is a brain dump and how should you do it? Before I break down the brain dump, I want you to think about a sponge. You have a sponge? Of course you do. How else are you going to clean your plates? Have you ever had that one moment when you're using a sponge and you've been using it for some time? So at this point, this sponge that used to be beautiful now looks worn out. Something about it just doesn't look right. And you're like, I don't know if I want to wipe my dirty plates with that. And what you're starting to see is that in the initial stages, the sponge was beautiful because it had amazing quality. But more importantly, you would wring the sponge out. You would get the water and you would take it out through that one squeeze. And if you forgot to do that, what would happen? The water would stay within the sponge, and eventually this sponge started to look moldy, ugly, disgusting. Well, your mind and your brain works in a very similar way. See, with the all this content that's out there nowadays, it's very similar to our brain being like a sponge, taking in all that water, all that content. And if you don't wring it out occasionally, what happens is that all that content becomes energy, excess energy in your internal world that is not released turns into anxiety. Didn't you wonder why so many people are nervous nowadays? Let's say you're someone that isn't as nervous as your peers. You look at them and they're just panicking about different things. They're panicking about relationships, work, life. And sometimes the panic is warranted, but other times it's like, what are you doing, man? This is such a small issue. Why are you magnifying it so much? It's because they're taking in energy, but they are not releasing it. And that's why you want to do a brain dump. It's because you're viewing that brain like a sponge and it needs to be wringed out. Okay? So this is one of the main reasons we want to brain dump. We want to take the information from the internal world and bring it out to the external world. This is known as externalization. Now, not only are we doing this whole brain dump thing because it's an emotionally intelligent thing to do, we're also doing it because it's a very creative thing to do. I cannot empathize with someone who's like, I don't have any ideas. I'm like, fam, you have over 30,000 thoughts per day and you're saying you don't have any ideas? You have plenty of ideas, but you don't understand that ideas that lie in the mind die in the mind. So this is another reason that we want to do some brain dumping. We're basically getting the ideas out there. And once we have our ideas out there, it becomes much easier to connect the ideas. So not only is brain dumping an emotionally intelligent thing to do, it's also a very creative thing to do. Question is, how do you do it? I'm an old school guy in some facets of my life. I believe too much technology is not a good thing in certain parts of my life. So whenever I'm brain dumping, I have a notebook. And in this notebook, I am just going with the flow. Occasionally, I'll just write a problem on the top and I'm just going with the flow. I'm just getting a lot of ideas out there. And then I'm connecting certain ideas. Okay? So this is also known as mind mapping. Mind mapping is more of a structured approach to the brain dump where the brain dump is very messy, but I like to view it very similarly. I mean, why add a difference? But if you do view it as a difference, it's basically because mind maps are structured. You basically have blocks of information and you're connecting it with links, while brain dumping is all over the place. And if a pattern presents itself, then it presents itself. So I just recommend you get a piece of paper and you get a pencil and you just do it. And you don't set too much expectations on yourself. Just go with the flow. Your body will typically be the compass, and you'll find yourself recalling a lot of information that you haven't recalled in a while. So earlier, we said brain dumping is great for emotional intelligence, it's great for creativity, but now we just stumbled onto the fact that it's great for studying. What is studying? Studying is turning the wet cement of knowledge into hard cement of knowledge, aka understanding. So when you're recalling information from your database, you're bringing it back into the forefront of your mind. And plenty of times, when you're over here brain dumping, you're going to be like, whoa, I completely forgot about this for such a long period of time. But there was a moment in my life when this knowledge was very much important. Hey, Armani, I got a quick little question. Is brain dumping and free flow journaling similar? So free flow journaling is when you're over here just writing whatever's on your mind. So if you use that logic, free flow journaling is writing in words whatever is on my mind. It's not too different from brain dumping. While with brain dumping, it's not always going to be words. A lot of the times you're going to draw certain things. And I believe if you can draw certain concepts, that shows true understanding. Brain dumping is very similar to free flow journaling, but there's some variations as well. You don't want to get too bogged down with the details. I'm sure you're watching this video because a part of you was like, let me learn what this brain dumping thing is about. So play around with it. See if it works for you. See if it's therapeutic for you. But the bottom line is that too much consumption is not a good thing. Eventually, you want to get that knowledge. You want to create some content, teach people about it, discuss the concepts that you learned with other similar minds. And if you don't even want to do that, at least do an occasional brain dump. You don't have to do it every day, but once a month never hurts. Once a week never hurts. Figure out the flow for yourself. But the ultimate recap is that brain dumping is you getting your internal world and bringing it out to the external world. It's you wringing out the brain so it doesn't become moldy and ugly like that dirty sponge. So if you enjoyed today's talk and you want to learn more about different methods of improving your creativity, emotional intelligence, study skills, along with many more other topics, be sure to check out Clarity 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to improve your communication skills. You will learn more about, I'm reading the back, about incorporating a reading habit, making your voice much more attractive, spreading your message with global communication, along with plenty of other topics. Grab Clarity in the link in the description box, the pinned comment, or go on armanitalks.com and grab your copy today, or you can even go on Amazon. Plenty of options, just one final choice. Thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.